And when I realized what it really is, it's about understanding needs, helping people, figuring out solutions together, collaboration. I was like, oh, dang, I've been doing this my whole life. I just didn't call it sales. But we do have that ick factor about it. We all think of sort of the pushy, manipulative, cheesy sales guy. That's such a small, minute portion of salespeople. And even those guys don't want to be that. So let's
No,
change the
some of them
script on
do.
sales. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Kick 'em out
polyester's
of the
going out,
club.
Alan. Polyester Sansabills are going out, brother. I'm telling you. The tie that's a little too short, the Sansabills coming over the big belly, gonna sell me a car. Gone.
Yeah. What can I do to put you in this car today?
Today.
Tommy Two Thumbs. That's what I call him.
All right, what is Tommy Two Thumbs? That's awesome.
He's literally the avatar that I think people have of a cheesy sales guy or gal, right? It's like, hey, what's it gonna take? Like you said. And I even teach this when I'm doing seminars and workshops with clients, and I have it on the board, and it's a guy, sunglasses inside, lots of gold chains, pinky rings, shirt unbuttoned to the belly button, the whole thing.
Lots of
Sansa belt
cologne.
Slacks. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Canoe.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's got to be
Drakkar.
something from the drugstore for sure. But
Right. Going old
top
school
shelf
drugstore.
top
Right.
shelf drugstore. But
So, all right,
yeah.
so Tommy Two Thumbs. Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop. Alan, my God, you are chit-chatting.
You just can't
today.
shut me up today.
Oh my God, we're gonna have to. You know what? I got the mute button ready to go right now, and I got the dump button for sure because I'm not sure what's going to come out of this episode. But you and your saucy mouth, I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry. I apologize in advance.
They call it working blue.
Hmm.
That's what they call it.
Is that why we're explicit? Me, all these years?
It's been you all these fucking years. I can't believe this is going on. This is crazy. Well, guys, great episode on tap today. We are going to talk about what is the linchpin, what is the secret, what is the thing that actually makes your business roll. Is it being good at your books? Absolutely. Is it being good at being a process documenter? Of course. Is it good at making sure that people pay you? Well, let me tell you about that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. But what makes it work? Alan, go.
You got to drive sales.
You got to have sales. And you know what? We're not just going to go grade school sales shit here today, boys. No, girls.
How about high school sales?
No, I say no.
How about junior college sales?
Nope, not even there. We're going higher. Keep going, Alan. Keep going.
Undergrad sales.
Oh my God, no. We have graduated from there. We're off the bachelor's
Masters
of sales.
of sales.
No, my God. We're going to the top. We're going to the pinnacle. Where are we going, Alan?
The doctor.
We have the
sales.
doctor, Dr. Cindy McGovern in the house, First Lady of Sales. Doc, thanks for coming in and let's go.
For having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here, and I just already know this is going to be a hoot. So let's do this.
Let's do this. Oh my gosh. So, all right, Doc, we need a lot of help in sales. We all do. We all wish we were better at it. We all think sometimes we think we're really good at it until you get hit in the nose. And as they say, that's Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until you get hit in the nose. So you have made your life's mission at getting into sales and helping people with it. So what's the secret? Give us I'm sure it's just one line, and then we're going to close up this episode. Call it good. Doc is
5 minutes.
We're done, right?
Yeah.
Is that all it is? Is that all it takes? Doc, what do we do?
Well,
Help us.
I mean, if you want a one-liner, it's really the fact that every job is a sales job and every interaction is a sales interaction, and you have to treat every single one as such.
Gold nugget.
Right off the rip.
And I've said something similar, and I'm not nearly as educated as our guest,
Definitely
but
not.
like I always said, even my reverend father was a salesman.
100%.
Your dentist
You have
is
to
a salesperson.
always
100%.
be selling.
Mm-hmm.
Always. You know what? I told young people the same thing when we did the summer internship program, is that when you're in college, you're still selling yourself. You better be thinking about yourself 100%, right? So,
Absolutely.
Well, and that mindset is so important because, and I think you use the word ick in taking the ick out of sales, because there's so many people that just think it's this vile practice that only snakes use, and it's not true.
That's so true. And I used to think that, truth be told, I never wanted to be in sales and I got put into a sales role. And when I realized what it really is, it's about understanding needs, helping people, figuring out solutions together, collaboration. I was like, oh, dang, I've been doing this my whole life. I just didn't call it sales. But we do have that ick factor about it. We all think of sort of the pushy, manipulative, cheesy sales guy. That's such a small, minute portion of salespeople. And even those guys don't want to be that. So let's
No,
change the
some of
script
them
on
do.
sales. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Kick 'em
polyester's
out of the
going out,
club.
Alan. Polyester Sansabills are going out, brother. I'm telling you. The tie that's a little too short, the Sansabills coming over the big belly, gonna sell me a car. Gone.
Yeah. What can I do to put you in this car today?
Today.
Tommy Two Thumbs. That's what I call him.
All right, what is Tommy Two Thumbs? That's
He's
awesome.
he's literally the avatar that I think people have of a cheesy sales guy or gal, right? It's like, hey, what's it gonna take? Like you said. And I even teach this when I'm doing seminars and workshops with clients, and I have it on the board, and it's a guy, sunglasses inside, lots of gold chains, pinky rings, shirt unbuttoned to the belly button, the whole thing,
Lots of
Sansabelt
cologne.
slacks. Absolutely,
Dracar
absolutely.
canoe.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's got to be
Dracar.
something from the drugstore for sure. But
Right. Going old
top
school
shelf
drugstore.
drugstore,
Right.
top shelf drugstore. But
So all right, so
yeah,
Tommy Two Thumbs, and you're talking about breaking the mold. So let's get
yeah.
into that a little bit. So how do we become better salespeople? What are things we need to be doing?
The first thing is it's just being conscientious about the fact that you're already selling. And I believe we sell ourselves before we sell anything, right? If I don't trust you, I'm not trusting whatever you're selling me. So if we start every interaction recognizing this is a sales exchange, that already makes you better because you go in with that awareness. You go in with probably a better plan for the conversation. And think about it. Anytime somebody goes in to pitch their services, they go in to have a conversation with your spouse about, I want to go here to dinner instead of there. You think about it ahead of time. You have a little bit of a plan. You're like, oh, I'm not going to talk to my spouse now because they're ticked off because they just walked in the door. I'm going to give it 15 minutes, wait till they have their glass of wine, then I'm going to approach it. It's sales.
So all right, got it.
What she's saying is get people to drink wine and then you can sell. That's what I heard.
So it reminds me of last night we had our NARI event and we have drinks at these events. I said, I know everybody comes here for the great education but let's face it, we do have alcohol here. And the executive director of our nonprofit was over there going, no, it's not a drinking event. I said, I'm sorry, everybody. It's not a drinking event, 150 people. I said, and speaking of not drinking events, next month event, we call it a brew bash. Because we're having it at a brewery, right? I said, but it's really a trade appreciation event, everybody. So it's not about drinking. So you're back to selling.
Yeah. So Dr. Cindy, I got a question for you. If you're trying to get people to realize that they're always selling, how much do you talk about body language and that nonverbal communication?
Oh, so in the US in particular, body language is about 80% of the message, of course.
How much?
So
80?
about 80% of the message. And we forget about that. It's not just your actual body, it's your tone. It's the inflection in your voice, the rate of your speech. So even if you're on the phone or over 2D video message or something like that, you're still selling that body language. So I think that's a big part of it, is that nonverbal aspect of the communication is a huge part.
Yeah, you hit on one. I've actually used it in our biz. I picked up from somebody. It's a well-known, I don't know where it came from, but it's a 7-38-55 rule. People remember 7% of what you say, 38% of how you say it, and 55% of how you're acting while you say it. Mm-hmm. And Alan's looking at me going 7-3.
Well, and I'm just thinking about how fast you talk and the fact that you're Italian and you use your hands a lot. Does that make you better?
I don't know if that, no, definitely doesn't make me better. Only people are picking up 3.5% of what I'm saying. So I think the body language, you talked about that, but you actually talked about one thing. Let's talk about this for a minute. A lot of us, we're all getting back to in-person sales, but this Zoom sales, the video sales, how do you do body language over that?
So funny enough, people kind of get freaked out by the 2D aspect of it. But the truth of the matter is you're still talking to another human. There's still a 3D on the other side. So you need to behave as if they're sitting across the table from you. And that's literally how I teach it when I'm coaching people on this. We're sitting across the table from one another. I'm in California. You guys are in Georgia today. But it's literally like we're sitting at somebody's table. And if you approach it that way, then you're actually going to have more natural body language. When you forget you're literally sitting with someone, that's when your body language becomes very stilted and kind of fake. And the other part of it too is, and y'all will appreciate this, I also firmly believe you dress the part. So a lot of people kind of do what I call the mullet of clothing. They'll do business on the top and, sweatpants on the bottom, business in the front, party in the back. But
She is
you
not
have
from
to
the panhandle of Florida at all, is
Yeah,
she?
exactly.
No,
not at
brother.
all. Hey,
No.
my hometown had
You
a
need to
mullet
ask her
festival.
that how much her truck was lifted.
Well, we're going to get there in a minute. I want to hear.
Okay.
I want business in the front part. But you're right. If you're not present with what's going on, you can really get stilted. Is that what you said? That
Yeah, and
No, but I want her
and
to finish that thought though. Are you saying when you're on a Zoom call you should have pants on, even though they can't see?
yes,
all right? We're going to have
and
to pause, everybody. Hang
Right.
on. Go put your pants on.
okay. No,
Got some
but I
backstory.
believe it's sort of you dress well, you play well, right? But I
Mhm.
also think that it's recognizing that this is really still a meeting. And even if you're in sweatpants, you're gonna behave differently. We know this. This is why we make children dress up, right? They're gonna be on their best behavior and their Sunday best sort of a thing. So I do think that there's something to be said for that. I also think it's the way you're projecting. The day that you're gonna wear your hot pink sweatpants is the day your tech is gonna bust. And you're gonna have to stand up and everybody's gonna see your hot pink sweatpants. So, not saying you have
Whoa,
to.
hello. Not saying you have any. Thank God I took those to Goodwill. Man, oh boy, yeah, Zoom. It's over. Uh-oh, I'm coming back. So
Are we not there?
no, we're there.
Okay,
I
well,
just killed the
okay,
video by mistake.
Follow up on that.
Yeah.
We have a much more casual society today.
Yeah.
So is dressing the part meaning just being a little bit better than sloppy or a little bit better than the environment would call for? How do you define that today?
Well, I think it goes directly to your personal brand and kind of who you are. So I'm usually a little bit more professional, just that that's my brand, that's who I am, that's what I like.
She does
But I
look sharp.
also
She's very
well,
sharp.
thank you.
Mhm.
But I live in San Francisco, so like here it's the nice hoodie is your business room attire, and that's okay. It's accepted here. So if I go back to the South and in Atlanta, it's going to be a little bit more formal. In New York City, it's going to be much more formal. So it just kind of depends on where you're at. But I think it really is about the reflection of you and what you want to put out there into the world. And so I always want to put out sort of that positive professional image.
She hit on one. I think we snuck it in there. I just love that phrase though. Dress well, play well. That is so key. My mother, I remember when I went for my first interview, it was going to be for in a machine shop, right? I was going to work as a dockhand and then work my way up in the machine shop when I was in high school. And I was getting dressed. She goes, no, you need to go put a tie on, Christopher. I said, Ma, I'm going to interview for a dock job. She goes, you're interviewing for the job you want to be, not the job you have. You're the job you're asking for.
Well, it's funny. So I'm in
Nice.
Dr. Cindy, I'm in commercial real estate, and I think
Mhm.
about this a lot. So if you think about a residential real estate agent, it's white Lexus, bottle blonde, lots of cologne, and some sort of a suit, right? And in commercial, it's different. I mean, I might be tromping through some woods, I might be going through a dirty warehouse, and there still are some people in my side of real estate who will put on a suit, but it almost seems cheesy. It goes back to that Tommy Two Thumbs. And so it's like, where is that happy medium to where I want to dress competently? I want to let them feel like, okay, I'm dealing with somebody who knows what they're doing, but at the same time, it's a really tough balance.
It is a tough balance, but I think it goes back to sort of, again, what you want to project. So, for instance, my guess is if you were meeting with me and I was an investor and you had been traipsing through a warehouse and you were covered in dust and you had work boots on and had a hard hat at some point, when you showed up to that meeting to try to win my money, you're going to tell me what you did earlier. You're going to
Mm,
actually explain it. You're not going to be like, hey, here I am, I'm showing up. You're going to say, oh, gosh, I forgive the dust. Here's what's been happening. Then I know sort of the context of it. And I know you were checking out the warehouse you want me to buy or you want me to invest in. So I think it's the way we sell it.
perfect.
I
That's
like
a
that.
good nugget there.
I'd say, what we do at the Trusted Toolbox, because we sell handyman and remodeling services. I tell all my sales guys over the years, I'm like, you're going to wear a red polo because red is the call to action. I said, but you're always going to have khaki work pants on, and you're always going to have the tape measure on the side of your belt, and you're going to have a portfolio that you can write in, even with electronics. I said, because you need to look the part. You look the part of, yeah, I can't see your hands. They better be calloused because I'm expecting you know how to do this. I said, but on the flip side, I don't expect you to be wearing a polo shirt or a button down shirt with long sleeves and wearing your loafers and pulling up in a Mercedes because they go, wait a minute, you're supposed to be a construction guy, but we looked more professional than most construction guys in their mind. And then I make all my technicians, those guys all wear t-shirts while they're working, but everybody wears khaki pants as well. Same thing. It's that image. Play well, dress well. I mean, dress well, play well.
You said something I want to ask the doctor about. What do you think about red as a call to action, as opposed to, maybe stop or blood?
But it does, it does cover up blood really well. I'm not going to lie. I've proven that. I said what helped one of the guys. It's squirting away.
I mean, that it's a hazard of the job. No, there's a lot of psychology around colors and things like that, and like yellows and reds are things that are used to sort of gain attention. Orange is another one. So I think it's really about, again, the brand that you want to portray. But I think for you, it is a eye-catching, like, hey, we're here to help. And so I love it.
That's great. All right, let's talk a little bit more about.
Come on, Dr. Cindy. I thought we were a team.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We'll come back later. Every once in a while, you got to throw the guy a bone. All right. So you've obviously talked a lot about sales. In fact, when we didn't really credential her, I mean, she actually goes all the way around the world teaching people how to sell. So what are the things you find that people need the most help with in selling themselves and selling what they're doing?
Oh, great question. The first thing is, when you're selling yourself, you've got to be super intentional around what you're putting out into the world, and it's got to be consistent. And I find a lot of people have sort of brands in conflict with one another, where, there's somebody from 9 to 5 and then there's somebody else from 5 to 9. Gives people a difficult way of having to file you in their brain. We need to know who you are. We want to be consistent. We see this with celebrities all the time, right? When they kind of go off brand and we're like, oh, didn't think that person was going to do that. And they're human. Okay. So maybe that was, a mistake. Maybe it was a branding blunder. But I think a lot of people don't realize that the world is watching 24/7 nowadays. It is social media. You never know when somebody's going to be snapping a picture. We have cameras in our pockets, and you've got to live that brand everywhere you go.
Yeah, that's right. 24/7 on the brand. You know what I found too is that we've been out, and Elle and I love networking. That's how we met originally. We always push that to everybody. That's a great way to get into sales, is to go out and network and talk with people. But when you've ever found somebody who has like 3 businesses and they come up to you and they're giving you like 3 different cards and you're trying to figure out what the hell they're doing, you're like, I don't even know what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
Which card are you giving me? Are you a carpet cleaner? Are you a publisher? Are you a marketing specialist? I don't know. And this is the guy. I don't know. You probably know the guy I'm thinking of.
So, Dr. Cindy, just a hypothetical situation. If asking for a friend, if this friend goes to Vegas and wants to have a great time in the sports book, does he have to stay on brand there, or can he cut loose a little bit and not care what other people see?
It depends on what they're trying to put into the universe, and recognizing that we may or may not be talking about somebody. I don't know.
I don't either. Hey, Big Daddy's in the house, man. When I get to Vegas, baby, it's big time, and I'm letting everybody know how big it is. That's right. Hey, you want to work with me? We're big time, baby.
All right.
All right. So that's staying on brand, please.
She is. She's way too professional.
So obviously consistency. Wow, doesn't that suck that she's so professional? I hate how consistent she is in staying on brand.
I know.
I keep trying
the
first lady of sales.
I keep trying to wield her brain to destroy you, and I can't.
I know. It won't work. She's too consistent.
No, she is.
All right. So you go around, you talk with companies. What do people mostly asking you to come and talk to them about to help empower their sales force?
Yeah, great question. If they have a sales team, it's really working with the sales team to help them shorten their sales cycle, gain stickier clients, better referrals, bigger network. If they don't have a sales team, or if they have a sales team, but they're realizing the other half of the house, service side, needs a little assistance too, it's working with the non-sales people. And that's a lot of the work that we end up doing too, is, sales can bring it in. Somebody else is likely the one keeping it. And I truly believe every job is a sales job. So we go in and we're helping everybody to recognize everything you do is in sales. We sort of define it as, if you can tick somebody off, if you can make their day, or if you can influence their opinion of your organization, you're in sales. So by definition, that's literally everybody that works for you.
Boy, she brought up something that really resonates with me. Everybody in your organization is part of the sales process. And I've got a friend of mine who's new in an industry, and they were just bought out by private equity. And everything is great until it comes to the billing department. and the billing department is a nightmare. And so the product's great, the service is great, the installation's great, all of that's great. And then until it comes to the money piece, and they're killing repeat business.
Do you have what it takes to start your own business? Are you tired of the 9-to-5 corporate job and ready to make that leap into entrepreneurship? Then you need to check out From the Zoo to the Wild, the new book by successful entrepreneur Chris Lalamia. This book is a unique perspective on the journey into the wild world of home services and delivering excellence in service while working in customers' homes. Lalamia shares his path to success in this industry, including proven customer relationship strategies, award-winning customer experience processes, and a unique approach to training a team of service technicians to perform at the highest levels. Whether you're a small business trying to scale or a franchise operation, From the Zoo to the Wild will give you the mindset, habits, leadership style, and customer-oriented processes to succeed as a small business owner in the home services space. So if you're ready to take control of your future, get your copy of From the Zoo to the Wild today, available on Amazon.
And that's a huge bottleneck. And funny enough that you mentioned finance and sort of bookkeeping area, that's a big bottleneck that we find in a lot of our organizations. We do an assessment first and we learn kind of what's working, what's not working. And that is one of the bottleneck areas. Service is a bottleneck and timely communication. And then when it gets up that food chain and billing, and then sort of the recap are where the sticky points are.
All right, this is a big one because, again, left brain, right brain. All right, Doc, you were in school. How many accountants did you work with that were good at sales? I mean, you're basically telling these accountants,
exactly.
Hey, they're like, hey, what do you think your job is? Oh, my job is to get the money in for the company, because if I don't get the money in, you guys can't go sell more. But right. You're saying, hey, no, I got to teach you. You got to have a little softer side, a little more sales. Mm-hmm. How do you get that brain to go, okay, by the way, you're right, I'm in sales?
I'm going to give you a good question on that. And it's 3-1, by the way, Doc. I'm way upside down.
All right. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Answer. I can't wait. I'm
Love it.
Pull over, everybody. Put the windows up. Listen, turn the volume up. Here we go.
So when you're talking to somebody who's really going to vehemently oppose the fact that they're in sales, you start with the fact that reminding them they're selling themselves already, and it's not what they're wanting. Because that's what's happening is they're already selling, but they're selling this, we're not going to help you. We're the ones that control all the beans. You can't do this. It's like, hey, you want the sales team to turn in their expense reports faster? Maybe don't be a jerk. Maybe, you want the clients to actually be able to get you the information that you need so that you can turn the billing around. How are you asking? How are you requesting their partnership? How are you asking for the information? How are you communicating? It's like IT. IT is one of my favorites because I always say, well, we're not in sales. And I go, oh, you are the most critical point of sales because you're when everything broke down.
Right.
So you got to sell these people on the fact that they're not idiots because, yes, I already restarted my computer. You got to sell them on the fact that you're here to help. And you literally deal with crises every day. So what are you putting out there? Are you truly selling what you mean to be selling? And that's where you start to shift their mindset and get their buy-in so that they can recognize it makes their life easier if they approach it from a sales lens.
What a great perspective. Turn that lens around is you're already selling. No, I'm not. Exactly. you're anti-selling, bro.
You're
Whether
right.
you like it or not,
yeah,
you're selling.
And you want to sell to make your job easier? I love that. Helping people just kind of put the lens back on themselves. That is a great line that I think will help a lot of people with that. The IT people, you're right. They should look at themselves as heroes, not the, oh my God, I got another picnic. Have you ever heard use that one?
No.
Oh, yeah. All right. I got to tell you my picnic story. So we were implementing a call center years ago when I was in consulting before I got into banking. And we implemented a very sophisticated call center in the late 90s that did the computer pop and integration. And so it was pretty complicated, right? But again, at the end of the day, it comes down to a CSR, somebody taking the phone call. And they, as we implemented the system, you'd have to run around the facility, 100 people. I mean, just think of SIA cubes. And I'm running around with my team. I'm part of the team. And you come over and you find out what the problem is. And you go, yeah, I'm here. Yep. We got to figure it out. Yeah, it's just a picnic. So we're just going to have a good old time with it and we'll get it all figured out. And because you can't piss off the CSR and say the problem's in chair, not in computer. So that's a picnic. So there you go. Oh. We kept them happy. because you had to keep these people really happy because they were always it was a call center for financial management and your money. So anyway, all right, Doc. So you're back. You're helping companies realign, get themselves into sales, and you are helping a lot of these people in the back office, not so much in the front sales line. Is that what I'm hearing?
We do the front sales too. It just kind of depends. But a lot of the clients that come to us, their sales team's doing fine. They're losing the sale on the back end. So they come to us to help stop.
That's got to be a big aha for a
back.
lot of companies, because I would assume most people just assume, okay, I need to, get a higher conversion rate or something like that, more leads, more prospects, that part of the funnel. But you're talking a lot more about the rest of the sales process that they don't even realize is part of the sales process. And especially
100%.
when it comes to repeat referral sales as well.
Oh yeah.
She talked, again, how much does it cost to acquire a customer? How much does it cost to keep a customer? And in my business, 40% of my business is repeat customers.
There you go.
So that's why I did a presentation for NARI called Customer Services Sales. I did it more like on a grade grade school level, as opposed to Doc here. But I love what you're saying about that. But how do companies come to that realization? Aha, it's not my sales team, it's the other guys that need help with that. That's got to be a hard sell on your part to get them to go, yeah, we have the problem.
It is to a degree, but we're a consulting company. So we go in and we assess the organization first. So we do confidential one-on-one interviews with, depending on how big the company is. We just did one for a 3,000 person company and we did about 200 interviews. And in that, we literally are finding out what's working, what's not working. And I'll give you a quick story. So there was a title insurance company. You guys are in real estate, so you know that world. And we found out that they had a really productive sales team. But what it was ending up happening is they were sneaking out the back door. So they were bringing in something like 60 new customers a month. They were losing like 62. And so they couldn't figure out why they kept staying even. And I said, well, let's look at this. Let's look at the math. Let's figure this out. And what we were realizing is they were really just treading water at that point. And we had to figure out why people were leaving. And so we started looking at it. We started looking at reviews. We really dug deep. And it wasn't that sales wasn't doing a great job. They were, but they were selling what I would call a transactionship. Just give me one. Just try us one time. Just give me a bone. Just give us one. I gave you one. Okay. Is that really what you want? So there was no alliance with the real estate agent sending the business. On the flip side of that, the escrow teams were looking at this going, well, Alan doesn't work with us. Alan works with so-and-so down the street. He's not our client. Yeah, that's called a prospect. So let's maybe invite him to stay. And so it was sort of a both sides of the house really needed to step up a little bit differently to be able to not only bring those clients and make them feel welcome, but keep them there and grow them.
Yeah, that throw me a bone, it actually works, but then you better do a great job with that one bone.
Yeah, I love that the line transactionship, not relationship.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Well, it is. It's like you're only as good as the last transaction. And it's funny because when you ask them to throw you a bone, think about even what you're asking. Like seasoned sales professionals mess this one up, in my opinion, too, because they'll ask for an order, a try versus a partnership. I don't want you to try us once. I want you to try us. I want you to love us. And I want you to tell everybody else about us. So you're still looking for a relationship with that person. Ask for what you want, take what you can get.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to prove yourself is the way I always looked at that. Try me once so I can prove myself, because I understand that you're not going to sign up for a lifelong relationship. But once you see how we do it, then you're going to be much more inclined to do so.
Yeah, but you're coming at it from the know, like, and trust, and know you're going to deliver on it. I get what's going on. If you're just out there just bringing them in, you're bringing them in the gate, and you're taking their ticky, and you're hitting the road, and you're just the sales hawker at the circus tent. And you don't know what's getting, you don't know what's going on inside the circus tent. Yeah,
that's right.
The monkeys are in there going crazy. Alan. Where's the bearded lady? Where's the bearded lady? I thought you said,
man, what a picture you're painting on this one.
Huh? I thought you, well, again, sales clowns.
So you mentioned 3 bottlenecks. One we touched on was the accounting side of things. What were the other 2 again?
So the service side, and then sort of the follow-up after the whole transaction, if they are, how do you keep the customer engaged after they're finished with their whatever service or product that you bought from them?
What are some best practices on that, on retention and following up?
Great question. So first of all, the challenge is you actually have to recognize that the retention begins at the very beginning of the partnership. And this is another piece where I find that a lot of even seasoned sales pros mess up is they think it is a trial. They're going to try us. We have to wow them, and then we'll have the longer term conversation. Actually happens earlier than that. It's the I'm gonna look to get married here. We're gonna wow you. This first date's gonna be amazing, but I'm telling you, this is gonna be where you want to be. So it's setting that stage. The second part of it is through the whatever experience is for the customer, making sure they're being seen, felt, and heard. They need to be truly seen. What do they need? Are we understanding that? They need to feel like they belong there, and they need to be heard with regard to what their needs are that are being unmet, whatever that is. And then the last piece is once the transaction is over, what is your sort of touch points to stay in front of them? And this is where a lot of companies end up not realizing they're creating transactionships. They have no way to keep them coming back. They have no way to stay in touch with them. So that's why they get on mailing lists and things like that. But have you asked them to come back? Did you ask them to send you a referral? If they had a great experience, did you ask for that Google review so you can continue online? Did you ask them to follow you online? There's a lot of ways to stay in touch with customers where they're not really in your house, but they're at least in your ecosystem.
So, wow, this is, you got one?
Yeah.
Oh boy, then I'm gonna hold mine back.
No, we've been doing this podcast how long, Chris?
3.5 years.
Yeah, and we love referrals, and we can't figure out a way other than just natural and organic, and just asking for them. Is there such a thing as any kind of a referral system or program that actually works?
I'd be curious to know how you're asking for referrals. So how do you do it now?
Well, me, I usually beg. I plead.
Crying? Do you cry?
I do.
Crying
I have one drop that can come out of my eye.
More tears.
No, how do
More
we do?
tears,
You know what? We don't ask. I don't actually go for the ask on the referrals. Now, again, with our customer base, what we do, I've got 17,000 people in my email database. So we email out information once a month, and it starts with a video from me, a little bit about the home, a little bit about this, and not asking, but also explaining, hey, we've got handyman for a day, but we never ask for that referral. And but back to your point, I would tell you, we tried this. I said, hey, look, if you refer me to your friend, I'll take $25 off, or I'll give you a $25 gift card. Backfired on me. They said, well, I don't want the money. Just do my friend right and give them the $25.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I found it kept blowing up on me.
Yeah.
And then I've had other contractors who refer a lot of smaller jobs to us say, hey, we need to get a kickback. I'm like, all right, do you have a referral system? What do you want me to do? Yeah, I want to get 7% of every job you do. I'm like, well, what do you think I'm making, bro? I mean,
yeah, wow.
I said, you want my whole net? I'm like, that ain't happening. So yeah, I did. To Alan's point, I have not found a good one yet that, if implemented, works, other than being authentic, where people just go, man, I want my friend to work with this great company.
And that's actually the best way to do it. But you do have to ask, and you have to continue to ask, because the problem is if you ask at the end of the job, they may not have anybody in mind that has a need. They may not have anyone that they can come up with like at this moment that needs the handyman. That's where your newsletter comes in, though. I think that's really powerful. You stay in front of them, but is there an ask in the newsletter? That's another place. How often do we keep in touch?
I was going to be rude and start writing that down, but I'm like, I can't do that. I'm telling Cindy right now, when you listen to this, remind me we need to do the ask in the next newsletter.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what would your ask?
People want to help you. People want to help you. Yeah.
Like listen to this podcast, man. If you like this thing, this is how it sounds. Let me know if this sounds desperate, man. Can you just tell somebody else about us? We should be up as big as Smartless. We should be as big as Rogan.
For the love of God.
But can you help a brother out, man? Come on, please.
I'm gonna cry more.
Was that a little too whiny?
I kind of like the tears. I think I mean they work, so I say go for it. But
talk about putting food on my kid's table. I've done that one.
Yeah, well, there you go. That one too. My kids are going to starve. But I think that it's really about being authentic about their experience and making sure that you're honoring whatever that was, getting that honest feedback. Hey, how was this? Like, did we do everything you needed us to do?
Yeah.
We loved working with you too, because you're not a psycho. Like, do you have any non-psycho neighbors that you can recommend to us?
I like that line a lot.
You know what? Actually, that's how my ask is going to be. The problem
that could be your next book title.
Is that, now, because when I first started my business, my big aha moment, which is what I put in my book, was that I was, for the first time in my entire life, I was in a retail business. I had been either in a machine shop, in engineering, in consulting, or working in banking, but this is the first time I was working with the general public. And you think your neighbors are normal, man, brother? I'm going to tell you, if you look around and you say all my neighbors are normal, I'm telling you, 1 out of the 3 of you isn't. And if you're looking and saying those 2 are normal, it's probably you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're the crazy one, dude. You're the crazy uncle. You're the one I do not want to go into your house because you're nuts, psycho.
There's always
All right.
one.
I took a negative. Let's go positive. All right.
You're running all the emotions today.
Oh
Chris.
boy, I'm crying. I'm angry.
I'll
you know,
call,
it's
I'll
been a
call
full
your
day.
therapist. You keep
Full
talking
day.
about
I
that.
know.
We got to give him a
Another
belly laugh
appointment.
before the episode is
Yeah.
over, so he hits all of the emotions.
There it is.
There we go.
It just got right. That's a good one. You know, right? Thank you, Doc. I see.
You're welcome.
That's why she's
You're
good
welcome.
at this stuff. Oh my God. Oh, where was I going? I had another big question I was going to ask you, and now I completely lost it. Huh, go figure. Hummingbird. All right, let's talk about your book, and then I'll remember. So you got a book, you got a couple books, you got books that are actually not even in English.
That's
So
true.
New York Times best-selling books.
how about that?
Yeah.
Am I feeling a little less than? Yeah, I do have
Because
book
I
envy.
do like the fact that, he's always rubbing in that usually our guest has a book, Chris has a book, Alan doesn't have a book, but I'm like, if I'm not going to have a book, that's okay, because she has a New York Times best-selling book.
So we don't even bring up the fact that I wrote a book in this case. So,
that's right.
All right, Doc, how can we find your book? What are they? Let's talk about it.
The first book was called Every Job is a Sales Job, but it's literally the book I wish somebody had given me when I was probably 18.
Mhm.
It's
Good
it's
point.
the book I didn't
Early on.
learn. Yeah, and it's funny. I have 3 degrees in communication from amazing school, and I didn't get taught what was in that book. So I think we really need to help people to learn that sales is not just a business skill, it's a life skill. So that was the first book. And then the second book is Sell Yourself. And it's about personal branding and recognizing that you're selling yourself before you sell anything. And your reputation, which we would have called it back when we were younger, now it's called personal brand, is really yours to write. And it's also yours to lose. And recognizing that everything you do, and quite frankly, everything you don't do, is affecting people's perception of that. So craft it the way that you want to, sort of like your mom's advice, dress for the job you want, craft yourself for the brand that you want. Make sure that you're reinforcing that out there and being authentic. And y'all are from the South Side, y'all understand this. Don't get a little big for your britches, right? You got to be you got to be authentic every single day and every single interaction.
Yeah, authenticity, I think, is big. That's one of the biggest things we push in our sales process, is that I'm going to give you all the lines. I'm going to do this. And, we have a hard job in our case because you got to be estimator and salesperson all at the same time. And again, you got to use the detail part of your brain, and then you also use the sales part. But I'm like, I can tell you how I do it, but you got to be you. And the current guy I'm training is a very straight dude. He's just doesn't do the sarcasm and humor that I do. Like if somebody says something, they're like, "Hey, can you fit around there?" I'm like, I'm not that fat yet, but he can't do that. So I'm like, you got to be you. You got to. And so I'm trying to figure out lines he can use that will help him. But they can't be funny off, because I'll never forget. I tried to use a line one of my sales guys did with a customer, because I can be funny, but I can't be this funny. And the guy said something, and my other sales guys had said, sometimes you just got to put your big boy pants on and saddle up and ride. So I said, sometimes you got to put your big boy pants up and saddle up and ride. And he looked at me and I looked back, and it was one of those things like, again, do the old RCA Victor dog, right? We both did this. And I said, I apologize. I said, I was trying to use a sales line that one of my guys taught me. I said, I just don't have it. He goes, yeah, don't ever use that one again. I ended up getting the job because I said, look, dude,
You're authentic.
I was like, let me back up. Right? I'm a general contractor. I'm telling you got options. You can do it this way or that way. But my recommendation is to do it the more expensive way, because I think it'll come back and bite you.
I think you should try it again.
That was the best.
I challenge
He
you.
looked at me and I looked at him and I went, oh boy,
That's not statistically relevant. You need at least 5.
Do I need more?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to put your big boy britches on, saddle up and ride. But I just didn't have that in me.
I just have images of the movie Tommy Boy when he was trying to use the
Yes.
phrase, and it's like the same kind of thing. It's got to be your bull. So like, there you go.
And then at the end, we actually used that one. In fact, we just used this in sales training this morning. When he goes, guy says, nope. He goes, alrighty then.
All right, then.
We're done.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Alrighty then.
Great
that's
book.
fun.
Great movie. Oh my goodness. But
that's a sales movie.
But I need
Forget
you to
Boiler Room.
videotape him when he does this saddle up and ride again. I'm going to need to see video. So
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna have to ride with him
that could be
out
your
and-
number one short.
That you know what? I'm gonna have to probably Cindy, remind me. We're gonna do that one. I'm gonna play that one back out because if you could have been there and seen, I mean, I'm living this vividly
Maybe you
now,
should
and it's been like
put your fake Southern
15
accent
years.
on when you do it.
I should,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was gonna ask, Doc. All right, Doc.
Mm.
So you grew up in the Panhandle of Florida. For those who
Yeah.
don't know the Panhandle of Florida or Florida in general, if you're a contractor from Florida, it's not how if you lifted your truck, it's just how many inches you lifted your truck. So how many inches did you lift your pickup truck before you left?
I didn't have a truck.
Oh,
I had a little red car with T-tops. That's how long ago.
oh, cars with T-tops. Oh, of course you did.
From the Panhandle. Of course I had a car with T-tops.
Of course you did. Smoking the Bandit. She's riding.
Absolutely.
It's awesome. All right, so you got 2 books out, obviously, and a New York Times bestseller. So you guys, we are getting seriously for free. You're getting a chance to listen to how cool we are, but we're gonna have to wrap this sucker up because we've got probably like 10 more minutes, and I definitely want to get to those final 4 questions. But is there one more big question? What did we miss? What is the one secret? Give me something. I don't know. I'm gonna cry
I
again.
love that question though. What's the question I didn't ask?
The question I didn't ask.
Yeah. What's the best question we didn't ask?
Great question. The question you didn't ask that I think your audience would really like to know is, how do you get everybody in your organization involved in the sales process?
Well, you fire the ones that don't, right, Chris?
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yes, and yes, and
Yes, and
Yes, and
but they've got to be bought in, right? Like that's part of the challenge. They got to be
when they
bought
see the other
into what
ones
you're doing
with the box
here.
in their hand walking out the door, then they buy in quick, right, Chris?
I
actually, I didn't even
mean,
let him go out with the box. He just grabbed his mouse and said, "I'm done."
fear works. Fear works. I mean, use that fear
Yeah.
and power. But
Thank you. Or
Big stick.
Yes, and we're doing improv now.
Yes, and.
Yes, and. All right, Doc, give us a better one.
yeah, but I think it's about getting them bought into how this is going to help them at the end of the day. And I think that's the part we forget is the mandate is given. Everybody's going to do this. Everybody, and that's something we tell our clients all the time. They'll say, well, this is a mandatory meeting. Never say that. Never say that. Because that means you've taken completely away my human choice. What you want to do is give people options. Help them to see there is an easier path to do this if you adopt this. There is job security if you start to do these things. You will have greater team members that you can lean on because we will have capacity to hire. There are lots of ways to help them to see how this is going to benefit them at the end of the day. And I think a lot of leaders skip that. They just sort of throw out the mandate, or they'll give the goal and say, okay, well, everybody go do it. Do they know how? And then you have to give them support. You have to give them help and coaching and training on it as well. But the way to do it is get them to see why this is going to help them first, and then it helps the company.
Amen. That is awesome. I love that one because I do training with my my entire office. We get together, everybody, every other Wednesday. And I had one guy, and I've had multiple guys over the years come up and say, "Hey, you don't pay me for the training." I said, "You want $20 for that hour? You can." I said, "But if you're not catching what I'm putting down," I said, "you're missing out on $500 this week alone." Because I'm teaching you how to get add-on sales. I'm teaching you how to get a better transaction. I'm teaching you how to get into a transaction with a customer, make it happen, and get out of there and get a tip, get a review, which I actually pay you for. I'm like, if that's what you're thinking the whole time you're in training. And then on the flip side, the positive side of this is I've had some guys say, you know what? I actually start to look forward to that training. I didn't believe it in the beginning, but now I get what you're doing, and it's helped me, and I've been able to do great things for my family. So I love hearing that stuff, man. That's
Love
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, Doc, we all need to figure out how to find you. So how do we find you? And let's get into those final 4 questions.
Excellent. So I can be found at drcindy.com, drcindy.com, or at 1ST Lady of Sales, First Lady of Sales on all the different platforms, and orangeleafconsulting.com, orangeleafacademy.com.
Dang, we'll put those all in the show notes. We're going to do all that. Now let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right. What is the favorite book you would refer to our audience?
That you didn't write.
That's right. and it doesn't have to be a bestseller.
Disclaimer? Come on. No. So the book that I used to use when I was a college professor that I used for interpersonal communication was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an oldie but a goodie. And I think it should be required reading for adulting. So
Not
hands
mandatory.
down.
We don't use mandatory.
No,
Nope.
we know it's going to make your life
Required.
better.
Way
We're
better.
going to make your life
That
better.
was a test the doctor gave us right there.
Yeah, that's good.
We were
I got it.
listening.
I was listening. I'm
You
opting
passed.
in. I'm
Good
opting
job.
in. Yes, please. Yes, please. All right.
That is such a classic.
What is the
a good
favorite
one.
feature of your home?
My balcony, actually.
All right,
Um,
because go ahead, lay it out.
I can see the Transamerica building. It's
Because you're in
Nice.
San Francisco
Yeah.
on the hill. That's looking awesome. What a great city to be in. I know it's getting some bad press, but people who live there are like, dude, wrong. I don't go
Yeah.
down by that area anyway, so it doesn't matter.
It's funny you say that. Literally, everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, are you guys still there?" I'm like, "Y'all know me. I'm kind of prissy. Like, I wouldn't be here if it was what the news is showing." You know.
Right? Awesome. All right. So you talked about this customer service and sales and all that. One of the things that Alan and I really pride ourselves on is that when it comes to customer service, we are
Customer service.
freaks.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, Doc, what is a customer service pet peeve of yours when you're out and you're the customer?
Having to repeat myself.
What?
Say that again.
When
Sarcasm, smartass. Don't know. We're all of them.
gold
Thank you.
star for both
Right?
of you.
All right, give us an example.
So you tell one person, then you get transferred to another person, or you got to go tell this
Oh.
person the story, then you got to go tell it to them. Or they say, "Oh, I just read your notes. Can you tell it to me again?" No, you're wasting my time. These are billable hours. I told it to one person. That should be enough to get me a solution. And that is one of my biggest pet peeves, is having to just repeat it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That is a great one.
Mhm.
All right, Prissy, T-tops. Here we go. We got to hear a DIY nightmare story though, because we love this stuff. I brought this thing up to somebody else the other day, and I'm like, "No, I want something better." He goes, "Oh, dude, I just don't do much." I'm like, "Dude, I can tell you, like every one of my fingers has had a nail in it." I said, "There are." I mean, yeah, I know, but don't worry, they're still here. I didn't cut them yet. One left. So give us
I know
a
you have
DIY
one finger
nightmare
because
story.
you show it to me an awful lot.
That's right.
So truth be told, I'm not much of a DIY kind of gal, but I was pretty proud of myself that I figured out how to resurface the bathroom cabinets. And my husband was out of town, and you can find anything on YouTube, and the hardware store, you find the guy that looks like he knows what he's doing, and then he'll help you. And so I got them all the different cabinet parts off, got everything done. This was a long time ago. Not proud of this, but I didn't have like an electric screwdriver, so I was literally doing this with it. Couldn't figure out which hinge went with which one, couldn't get the doors back on the right ways, so ended up having to call somebody to come and help me at the very end, who brought his magic electric screwdriver and did what took me 45 minutes in like 5 minutes. So
Yep.
a little
That-
embarrassed by that, but hey, it's true story.
That's a little one, but that's a big one. People don't realize that one. So sometimes you get in there and you start deconstructing everything. You're like, you know what? I'm going to change out my own outlet. I can do that. And you go in there and it's a 3-way. And they're like, oh, I did that. Here's the thing I would tell everybody. Always take a picture of it with your phone before you get started in today's world. And then don't be afraid to actually go ahead and put some numbers on things. It's okay. You can tape it because you don't know how it goes together. And that's definitely a great lesson. And that's what happened to you with your hinges and those cabinet doors. That's amazing. Yep. That's a good one.
Funny you say that. He actually asked me, he goes, "Did you number them?" No,
Great.
the YouTube video did not tell me to number them.
This is so wild. I love Zoom. It says I raise my hand to talk. I'm like, I don't raise my hand to talk. I just talk, baby. All right. Everybody, you just went to graduate school, so go get your caps on. Graduation season. Move that tassel over to the right side, left side.
I would.
I don't even know. That doesn't matter. What was it, Doc? You did it a couple times.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
Left
yep.
side, right
Move
side.
it from the left to the right. You've done it. You've graduated. Go put some of this stuff in action. Go back and re-listen to it. My challenge to you is before you get to that next episode, try something. Always be selling yourself. Doc told you that right there. You're always in sales, no matter what you are. You know what? Share this with some of your folks. Share this with other people too. Let them know. Follow us. Give us a share.
Put your
Get
big
out
boy
there.
britches on, Chris.
And let's go out and saddle up and ride, Alan. We're out of here.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day together.